Hey y'all, so welcome back again. If this is your first time jumping on one of my lives, we have to go live on Instagram at cat_the_stylist before we can reach our 1,000 subscribers on YouTube. So that is, of course, the goal. So my YouTube channel, of course, is the Catherine William one. So make sure you guys go follow and subscribe. But let's just jump right into it. So for those that have been keeping up with this podcast, I'm so grateful, super, super duper grateful, because this has been a journey. I'm in what they would call it, a crossroad. I'm at a crossroad right now in life. And it's exciting, it's scary, it's so many different things, but nonetheless, this is something that's kind of keeping me grounded. So I definitely appreciate everybody that's supporting me right now. But jumping into tonight's conversation, because baby, the chat is open and we are in the chat. So jumping into it, y'all, we're going to kind of recant on the past few weeks of conversations that we've had in the chat, bringing back up imposter syndrome, because for those that's living under a rock, baby, Cheyenne Bryant is not letting us up. So we're going to have to get into that, of course. Another thing that we're going to be talking about today in the chat, if it stays in the chat, because we can get off topic, but that's cool. So another thing that we're going to be discussing in the chat is definitely like what crossroads look like. And then just for different people, what pivoting looks like and how soon you should do it. So let's get into it, baby, because we are in the chat. So chat, tell me why. I thought the Cheyenne Bryant thing was going to really go away. Like, I thought she was going to do what most normal people would do when they're caught in a lie and just kind of like chill. But Cheyenne said, oh, I'm about to turn up. So sis has been going full Megan Thee Stallion on us. And I can tell you that definitely wasn't on my bingo card for 2026. Like, me and my friends had a discussion outside the chat. Like, we got another group chat because y'all don't like to come to the chat on time. So y'all get the second group chat. Well, subscribe then. But Cheyenne, we never really could get into her like that. And it was one of those things. It's kind of like Derek Jinx for me. Like, I saw a few of his videos. He was cool, but I could never really just get into him like that. And ironically, I even used him as an example because he's one of the people that's in support of, I don't want to call this lady doctor because you got to prove that to me. Like, Dre, period. No doctor. Even Pepper, no doctor. But he was one of the people that actually supported her, Derek Jinx. He was one of the people that kind of tweeted out like, hey, kudos to her because she was able to do da-da-da-da-da and acquire this amount of success. And I'm like, of course, for you, it's kudos to her because you were able to tell women to leave relationships that you were yourself creating. You were telling women to leave the type of men that you are. And you profited off of it until you got caught up. So, of course, you for the scam games. I don't even know where these people reside, but don't come to Atlanta. We full. And on top of being full, we full with scammers. So we don't need no extra new scammers. Maybe stay where y'all at. But I thought that was ironic that he was one of the first people to kind of like support and rally behind her. And it's like, this guy. And like, y'all, don't be surprised if they come up with some type of event and start selling it to these followers, because at this point, people truly are influenced. So they're using the right names and things to call these groups or on these social platforms, followers, influencers. Like, that should let you know that mentally they've done the work when it comes to social platforms. But Cheyenne, she's basically was saying, for those that don't know, like I said, you got to live under a rock. Because, baby, one thing about social media, they are going to talk about something until you just can't take no more. They going to keep talking and talking and talking about it. And you're going to be like, okay, y'all, when we going to move past this? And they going to be like, we're not moving past it, which reminds me a lot of our other conversation we had in the chat, which was council culture. So if y'all didn't see that, definitely go check out that video because it's real out here. But Cheyenne, I feel is in the midst of council culture, but I think that it's so many people like me and my friends that just don't care enough. And it's sad because we kind of should. And the reason I say we should is because at the end of the day, like I said last time, doctors, lawyers, certain professions, even hairstylists and barbers, work really, really hard. Hey, Tamika. They work really, really hard for their professions. Like, even if you were like the top performer at your job and you know for a fact you got that position because of your credentials, and then here comes somebody else that lied and they excel or exceed you. And it's like, yeah, some situations you can be like, well, they were the better person. But the reality of it is if you have to lie to get in the room, you're not really the better person. You're just a liar to get in the room. So with that being said, that's why I was saying, it brings up our topic that we previously discussed in the chat, which was imposter syndrome. After watching more videos of her, because people kept talking about it, like I said, and here I am talking about it because maybe we in the chat. But after watching a lot of videos of her, it was just like one of those things where it was like, girl, you are an imposter. And on top of being an imposter, you are a delusional one. When I seen her, on the boat or whatever, she was on some boat, in her bikini. I'm like, ooh, it was cringy for me. And she's beautiful, fine body, teeth, but that's how you come. You was just trying to convince people you were a doctor. And now you turned up, shaking it on the boat. I don't know. And so someone also wrote in, and I should have been able to bring up their screenshot, their text, their DM. But they wrote me and they were like, basically with imposter syndrome is one of those situations where a person tries to imitate or convinces themselves that they are this thing. And in the whole space of just being an imposter, because the reality of it is they're only being that thing for a certain thing, which we see now. And that's why I was like, it just didn't look good. It wasn't a good look for Cheyenne to post that last video or whatever, because it's like, is your brand really important to you, or are you shifting to who you really are? And the gig is up. And now I can go be the baddie I want to be and find me a baller husband. That's the energy I got from it now. I could be wrong, which sometimes I am. But in this situation, I feel like I'm spot on. And I feel like for a lot of people that have really good discernment, people like her and Derek Jinx and even Meta, because, the girls came down on him for a minute, saying basically he lives a double life. And he's this imposter of making women think you deserve this, you deserve that, but you're not that type of man that's doing it. So it's like, do we, and this is a question for the council culture, because we had the conversation, do we support these people because their message is good, even though they're not authentic in the message as far as they're not living the message? And if this is the situation, what's the purpose and point of titles or credentials or people having supporting evidence? That is the real question. But none to say the least. I don't have anything negative to say about Cheyenne other than if you truly are not a doctor, at some point, please address it, because it is extremely insulting to the people that are real doctors and therapists, and they put in the hours, they put in the time, they made the appropriate sacrifices to get those credentials, and here you come thinking it's cute. And all you have to do was use your name, sis. Your brand is you, not your name. And that's why I'm telling y'all, if y'all go find the video of sis on this boat, y'all gonna see why my thing was, so what is the brand? Because now I'm confused. Thoroughly. But in other news, Jay-Z, well, let's not skip, Drake has dropped 3 albums, which I haven't heard them personally because I don't have Apple Music anymore. I don't have the space. iPhone, gotcha. Look, they always trying. And I'm just like, between trying to do my YouTubes and my podcasts and content, I just don't have the space for Apple Music right now. So it is what it is. My drive is not long. So, because honestly, that's the only time I really turn on Apple Music is when I'm in the car. Like, outside of being in the car, I never use the app. Like, not to go to sleep, not to just be chilling at work. Like, no. But to say the least, Drake dropped 3 albums, and I'm hearing a lot of mixed reviews. I'm hearing good, bad, and indifferent, which is a good thing, I feel like. Because I feel like if everybody was like, oh, it's good, it's dope, it's dope, it's dope, I'd be like, y'all lying. If everybody was saying it was trash, I would feel like it's still attached to the Kendrick beef. So y'all lying too. But to have this mixture of reviews from different people, even sources, because a lot of people have already reviewed it, on TikTok and different channels. But the one thing that stood out to me the most, because I also seen that he was charting on the billboards, and I don't really think that's a big deal anymore. Like, they said he passed like Michael Jackson or something, which I'm like, you passed Michael Jackson in the streaming age. Try passing Michael Jackson and Prince in a day and age where you had to go to the actual store and buy it in person. So, kudos to him, but at the same time, it's not that impressive. Like, at least for me, chat. Y'all tell me what y'all think. Am I being a hater? Because I actually am a Drake fan. When I had Apple Music, I had a lot of Drake music, but I also had a lot of Kendrick music, and I also have a lot of other artists. But at the same time, it's like, that's really not impressive, Drake, because you're Drake, and like, people were waiting for music from you. So, I don't know. But nonetheless, they said it's a sad album. It's a hip-hop album, like, for outside. And then it's, like, his typical Drake. And the thing that I was saying is what threw me the most is I'm normally seeing people use Drake's music. Like, when he dropped albums, I'm used to seeing people use his music on, like, the social platforms, as far as like when they post their videos, when they post their pictures, or they be quoting him sometimes in their stories. I haven't seen a lot of that. Now, my algorithm may be a little different because we know they be listening to us, but I haven't seen it myself. Like, between my friends that I see and I go and watch their stories, I'm not seeing anybody using their stuff. I also follow a few influencers. I don't see them using any of his music. So it's like 3 albums and nothing is like streaming like on social media. I can wait. That was the energy I had. Like, I can wait on that. I don't have to be in a rush to listen to it. Like, so I'm cool with that. But as I was getting into, Jay done dropped a diss freestyle after saying that freestyle is dead, is not going to save hip hop, and it has no part in hip hop anymore. He gets on stage and freestyles, not with locks, but with a free throw. I don't know who combed them locks out, but I hope you got paid good. I really do. I really, really do. And I think it's ironic that he combed them out because people kept calling it a wig. So I think that's funny, like that he combed out the wig. No, but they also say your boy Funny Marco hair is a wig, and I'm like, why do y'all think black men can't grow hair? And the irony is, like, as a hairstylist, what I've seen is a lot of times when men grow their hair, it grows faster than women. Because they're not manipulating it. They're not doing anything to it. They're just literally, and men, for whatever reason, whether they have hair or no hair, they feel like they need to wash their hair every night. Anytime they shower, they feel like, yeah, I need to shampoo. So I'm just saying, ladies, and gentlemen, like, every time a black artist or a black person grows their hair out and then keep it in its natural state, it doesn't have to be a wig. Now, it can be. But it's not always a wig. So stop with the slander. However, the freestyle was already, and that's what I meant by the Drake album. Drake album, I'm not seeing anybody quote anything. Jay drops a freestyle literally, I think, yesterday. And I'm seeing so many people trying to dissect it, quote it, bring it to light. Apparently he did Jaguar White, right? Nicki Minaj, Kanye West, Drake, and I can't think of the other people, but he went down the line. So anybody that's basically said anything about him and his kids in the last few years, because the Carter family, they don't address nothing. I am trying to reach that level of maturity where I don't address anything. And then when it's my moment, and that's like some real Capricorn, Virgo, Earth sign stuff too, because I'm a Virgo. But and that's why I say I'm at a crossroad, and we're going to get to that. But they don't address anything until the right moment. And that moment is always when they have everyone's attention. So, I'm just saying. He talked, and I love the freestyle he had about Kanye, because it was true. He was like, y'all think he a maniac, but let's see how that man be acting when he in my presence. That man don't act nothing crazy. That man act like he got a lot of damn sense when he in my presence. And we've seen it with our own eyes. Like, we've seen Kanye be crazy and ranting, and then get in front of these people. Everybody on mute. I'm just saying. And then he basically alleged that Nicki Minaj must be back on that stuff. Because, is you cool? And I'm like, I ain't even mad at you, Jay. Because these people were saying some crazy, slanderous stuff. And Jaguar Wright, y'all know she love a Jay hate train. And I like Jaguar Wright. I take everything she say with a salt of grain. It's kind of like the EP files. I be listening, but I know I'm not in a position to do much other than share the information and the content. And so I be listening, and I be watching, and I be tuned in. But it's above my pay grade. That's the energy I get that. And the same thing can be said with Drake. I heard that Drake did apparently diss him, I think, in his new album. Or maybe in the past. I can't even be sure about that, y'all. But basically, Drake dissed him. And so he got his get back. And then the part that was the funniest to me is fans and audience were asking for Beyonce. And he was like, damn, I'm not enough. No, you're not. You're never enough, Jay. Anytime we see you, we know you're going to be with B. So she needs to be present, seen, and heard. I'm just saying. But nonetheless, y'all, as promised, we're talking about crossroads and pivoting. So we all know there's a lot going on with this presidency. We all know that this presidency is just crazy to deal with. I just read earlier where Iran, that he messaged Iran and basically was like, hey, let's try to negotiate. And Iran was like, nah, we want Obama. We want the real president. We want the GOAT. We don't want to talk to you. Send the adult in here. I'm not talking to a kid. That was the energy Iran gave y'all president. And I'm so here for it. I'm not even gonna lie. Like, I am so here for it. Because, Trump, who are you? Go get your daddy. Right now. That's the energy I be feeling every time he do something, say something, or be something. Where is Obama? Where is Michelle? We ain't got time for this. Gas prices are not going down. That's crazy. The last time we experienced a gas spike, the prices went down before we could even think about it. We are all still paying over $4 a gallon. And then on top of that, Y'all want to tell me that y'all are mixing ethanol, a higher percentage of ethanol in the gas? And that's why everybody's having the same problem of their gas going faster, or now their cars are having certain issues. But y'all swear y'all were picking the less of the two evils. That's what y'all said when y'all didn't want to vote for the black woman. Y'all didn't want to vote for the white woman either. The only two people he ever beat were women. And every time, our lives were in shambles. So let's talk about what we should be doing, how we should be preparing, how we should be moving, because this man has 2.5 more years. And they're putting it all in our face that he is trying to build this ballroom, aka a bunker, so that he could ask for a third term, which the Constitution doesn't even allow. So why does it keep being a conversation that's coming up? So many things that y'all said he couldn't do, he has done. So many things that y'all said could not happen is happening. So what are you guys doing to pivot? What are you guys doing to be prepared, be ready? Like, that's the real question. Chat. Are you ready for another 2.5 more years of his administration, knowing what we've already experienced in a 1.5 years? And that's why I said I'm at a crossroad, because for me, my crossroad is finishing all of the things that I set out to start and just finding my own way in peace, right? And sometimes it's hard to figure out what it is that you want to do when everything feels like there's really, like, it's impossible to do. Like, everybody's trying to survive. Everybody's trying to just make it. Like, everybody's trying to make sure their gas stay good. Cars stay good. Their gas is good and hopefully go down soon. Their bills are paid, but nobody's getting increases at the rate that the inflation is inflating. The housing market is crazy right now. To rent, buy, lease, or own. Like, renting right now is the saddest shit. Because people are really asking you to make 3 times your rent, knowing that most jobs started you at $15 to $19 an hour. And the rent is $2,200. And it's like, now how you figure this is worth $2,200? Apartments should not be $12, $16, $18, and $20-some-hundred. Like, at all. Apartments are apartments. It's a part of a complex. So why are you having me pay what a person who's owning is paying? And for the owners that's renting, why do you think that a person wanted to pay you in your mortgage? I understand the equity that goes into a house. I understand how the profit can be made. But the reality of it is too, like, at what point do you say, I'm willing to help the economy more than I'm willing to help myself? So that way that my children's children can actually see something. Because I don't know if y'all been paying attention to Elon Musk, all my Tesla drivers, but your boy is on one right now. He is taking matters to the Supreme Court to basically say that black people are not human, which is the irony, being that for someone that was born in Africa. You're not even a citizen. Why are you still here? Like, I thought ICE was in the building. So why are we still dealing with Elon Musk? And then they keep giving him bills, which, if for those that don't know, governments make bills, and most of these bills are attached to money. And we're not talking about small change, like $100,000, like they give black colleges or, HBCUs or black organizations. We're talking like billions of dollars. Even though they keep telling us we have no money. Everything that Kamala Harris said is literally happening. Y'all president is lining him in his friends' pockets while we are over here struggling. And the news asked this man, have you thought about Americans' financial, status or, struggles? And this man said, no, I don't think about that. But this is a person that has been voted to represent us. He don't even think about our financial state. He don't care. Gas could be $20. He doesn't care. And I'm going to tell y'all what I knew he didn't care. When COVID happened and everybody's job went remote, for the most part, those that could, and they were only needing essential workers. That means people that your job cannot be done remotely. And this man got back in office and was like, got back in office. He never left office because he was actually president when COVID happened, which is crazy. Like, not to get off topic, but hantavirus, y'all see how we bullied them out of hantavirus? Like, they was trying to bring it to us like, yeah, it's about to be another one. And we were like, man, y'all better not come spreading that, because we're not doing that again. And out of nowhere, nobody's talking about hantavirus. The irony when you're informed. They can't run the same tricks on you and run the same game. So that's why it's important to stay informed, y'all. Especially during times like this. Because when I tell you, we are up against bigger evils than our own presidency. They are out here protecting people. Palm Beach Pete, y'all know what's going on in plain sight. Our kids are in danger in one or two ways. If they don't get snatched up from sex trafficking or Oregon or trying to steal their organs, they can get killed by you know who. Or they just stop teaching them. They really just stop teaching our kids. Like, it's a reason why so many educators, one, are quitting, and two, are on the TikToks and on the social platforms letting us know that they are not teaching y'all kids because they got so many things set in place and standardized that they cannot even teach them a real curriculum. And even for those parents that dissect the curriculums in their school area, we've noticed that the curriculums are not anything that our children need. I've been hearing parents speak on bringing trades back into high schools for maybe the last 8 to 10 years. Half they did it, they've gotten further away from it. When I was in high school, we had cosmetology, mechanics, woodchuck, bakery. Like, we had things that actually did outside of just your regular like reading, math, science, social studies. We actually had things that taught us how to be adults. Now, they don't really care what your kids learn. And we also know that in, JD Vance's, his publication, he wanted to remove public schools. They want to remove public schools because for them, it's just money being wasted. So why not just ruin it? If you can't remove it because they can't, because again, that's a part of the Constitution, why not just make it really, really bad for them? We don't teach them anything. We take away the curriculums that should matter. We put in stuff to fluff the curriculums. And now we have people walking into the real world not ready. Like, not ready. Yeah, illiterate. You can't do math. Like, we were just talking about this the other day when I was at work. Where when I was in retail, the systems went down. Like, the whole store system shut off. And I never forget a girl basically saying, like, she couldn't count coins. I was young, so I don't even remember how I handled it, but I don't think I handled it like as mature as I probably would now. But I was in disbelief, so it took me back, because I'm like, what you mean you can't count coins? Like, and my mom, I'm like, you learn how to count coins when you a kid, because like with Monopoly, playing grocery store, like, and you've made it this far, you don't know how to count change? And she really wasn't the only one. She was just the only one that admitted it. Because when we count them tilts, it was evident that a lot of people couldn't count. And this is back in the day when I was working in retail. So just imagine how far people have gotten now. And this age don't know because everything is digital. And I have to catch myself sometimes, y'all. And we have to, like, where you get too reliant on the digital and the gadgets with spelling, with doing math. And like, so sometimes like I'll be quick to even open my calculator or to try to use spell check. And then I have to just test myself randomly and be like, you know what? Let me see if I can actually still do this. And like someone said, cursive writing. I asked my nieces and them, did they know how to cursive write? And they were like, yeah. And so that makes me proud. But at the same time, it's like, but how much do they enforce it after you learn it? Because I remember going through high school and a teacher, for whatever reason, now that I think about it, would be like, I want all essays turned in cursive. And you're like, dude, what's your deal? Like, why do we need the cursive right? But now you see that it's important because I heard about that with AI can't read cursive. I don't know what we need to do with that information, but that's something I found out. And so I'm sharing it. So in the event that anything happens, let's just remember that AI can't read cursive. And to get back to your boy Elon Musk, apparently he's trying to replace humans with bots and telling us we're going to be millionaires and we won't have to work. So, and we're seeing that they're really trying to replace people with robots because a lot of jobs are that people work are being replaced by robots. And like, I think I shared this before too. When I was young and working in retail and they first started bringing in a self-checkout, older white people used to be so against it. And at the time, I didn't even know like what they was like, why. And to be honest with you, because it felt like it made my job easier, I was like, what is the problem? But now that I'm older and I see what those self-checkout machines really do, they replace people in jobs. Because 4 self-checkouts can really take the place of one person. So that's one person you didn't have to employ. And for those that don't get why it's more beneficial to employ a robot over a human, is because a human calls off work. A human gets sick. A human needs medical and dental insurance. A robot, you buy it one time and probably get it maintenance every so often. And it produces work way faster than a human. It doesn't need a 15-minute break, a 30-minute lunch break, or an hour lunch break. And if we're being completely honest, it don't even have to leave work. So that's what we're up against. So when I see videos about robots doing lashes on people and people are actually like buying into it, I'm just like, wow. Wow. They are really trying to get AI to replace us. And it's scary and it's sad because this generation, which we were talking about, they don't even see it or get it. Like, they don't even see that when you graduate from high school and you go get this degree, what is it that you're going to be doing? If a robot is doing it already, how can you compete with that? Like, how can we compete with a robot? Typing, painting, building, figuring out math problems, figuring out reading solutions. How can we compete with that? And if they're doing these jobs, what jobs are we going to be doing? Servicing the robots? Working customer service, asking people, yes, this is Catherine. I noticed that you had an issue with your robot. Yes, well, how would you like to handle that? Like, what is it for us to do? And it's good if your kids are questioning things because they should be. I seen a video earlier and the real question is how much do we actually just go and teach our kids? Like when it's just us at the house and everybody's in their phone, do we say, you know what? Let's everybody put our phone down. Let's talk about slavery. Let's talk about the impact of Jim Crowing. Let's talk about the impact of redlining. Because we know how a genocide happens. And we know how history repeats itself. They just wait and wait and wait until that generation knows anything about it. And then it's always that one that's like, I want a slave. And I don't want any slave. I want a dark slave. And if we want to bring the Jews into this, I want a big-nosed white slave. Like, how do you combat these things? And are we having these conversations with our kids? Because they call Black history critical thinking, I think, now in schools. Or critical racial thinking or something in that degree. It's like, how do you bring down something that a group of people have endured and it still are being affected by to critical racial interactions or thinking or that? And to me, the way to combat it is for parents to make sure you're having those conversations, because we see it all the time. When white kids already are acknowledged racist or do discriminative stuff, we know it's because it's being taught at home. Our kids don't move like that because we actually be trying to teach them moral compasses and core values and doing right by people and, and reminding them that, hey, people may not do right by you, but to have the relationship you want with God or to have the relationship you want with yourself and be at peace, you need to do right by people. Whereas on the other side of the grass, they're having different conversations with their kids and preparing them not only for the world, but for life. And when I say life, I'm speaking on those legacies where I was speaking to of a genocide repeating itself. I can easily see one of Trump's kids being the person that bring back slavery because their dad is already laying out the play out. Like, he's already establishing different things that put them in positions. Like, how do you take a whole app from a country, TikTok I'm speaking on, and want it to go to your son or him to be chairman and CEO? But then talk about LeBron James and his nepotism of making sure his son got on the Lakers and got a good deal. And he should be set for at least the next 4 years. You speak on that nepotism because it doesn't benefit your people. It benefit my people. And so there's a problem. But as I was saying, make sure we're having these conversations with our kids, because right now in my life, where I'm at, learning to pivot has probably been the hardest thing. And I don't know if it's fully attached to fear or if it's attached to, just like I was saying, like with everything that's going on. It's like, which I guess would still be attached to fear. It's like, it's so many moving parts that you don't even know which way to pivot or how you can pivot. Because you might go and accept a new job offer, but who's to say that job is going to be there? And God said to not worry. But how do you not worry when you have no real control? So chat, that's the conversation we had tonight. That's where we're going to leave it at. And I hope y'all join me again next week, because we will be back in the chat. And I definitely enjoyed everybody that joined me. And make sure, if you haven't already, go over to YouTube and subscribe at the Catherine William one. It's no S on Williams. It's just the Catherine William one. And make sure you tell a friend and share this information so that we can reach our goal of 1,000 subscribers and we can actually go live on YouTube and not Instagram. But for those that joined me on Instagram, I also appreciate it. And for those that want to join me on Instagram so you can be a part of the discussion and jump in the chat early, make sure you follow me at cat_the stylist. And I'll see y'all next time, because this was a good chat, y'all.